Welcome, welcome, all of you. Having some absolute stunning weather the last few days where it gets warm, the snow melts, but then it's still cold enough for the snow to come down. And then what ends up happening is the light reflects off it, and because you don't see snow anywhere else because it's not on the ground, it looks like we're in a snowball glitter. And the kids thought it was absolutely stunning and amazing. It's a bit difficult to get on video, otherwise, I'd have pictures and video of it. It's been a beautiful start to the new year. Been really, really great last few days. Ashley with her family, as well as myself with mine. And last few days really, really plays into this solar plexus chakra, our motivation, our willpower. Sometimes this is an area that gets blocked, gets hindered when we're putting off things that we just don't want to do, or that lacking of willpower. And this is a really, really, I'd go with big, but big doesn't say it. It can have real nasty consequences of putting off things that really do need to be done. One thing that me personally, what I was able to accomplish over the last few days was I was able to mend relationships with both my parents. And my father's always been a really, really phenomenal father. Now, I know how to be a father because he's a good father. And like any family, there's always friction. And when you put off the healing, when you put off closure, when you get a blockage, when you get a hindrance in your solar plexus, it loops back around to fear. And then you have a fear of addressing the issue. A few big, yeah, solar plexus in depth. Being the center chakra, it directly feeds into all the others, and it specifically grips onto your root chakra and your crown chakra. And everything around you really is pinnacle of what comes out of your solar plexus. This is fire element, plexus yellow. It goes so much more than that. They'll tell you the emotions tied to it, just to double check and make sure that I get fear and shame in the right order. Not fear and shame. Guilt and shame. Guilt is your sacral. Shame is your solar plexus. And if you can think through logically, when we have important issues that need to be addressed, we have important areas that we're avoiding. The lack of action in this is going to cause both guilt and shame. And we usually have a lack of action due to fear. The sacral chakra directly ties into it because when we're unhappy with what it is that we need to do, we tend to not want to take action on it. We don't have the motivation found in our solar plexus to make those changes. Then it plays into your anger, plays into your hate. And when we have those negative energies bottled up in our solar plexus in this specific area, causes a whole whack load of unrest and physical ailments to your body. And this is the chakra that gives you butterflies in your stomach when you want to go talk to that person you like, because you have to take action. And it bottlenecks your motivation to do it because you physically feel off. This is the area where you feel sick to your stomach, or you will be sick and vomit. When you have that tension, that fear to take action, that lack of motivation, this is the anxiety center. One experience that I have had repeatedly through working with plant medicine and entheogens, specifically to psilocybin, is it activates my solar plexus and it works through that same feeling of anxiety. And the mushrooms really do let you know what areas and what chakras you need to work with because you physically feel it in your body. One thing that I've personally noticed over the last few months of growth is that I'm more up in the heart now, which is great. As long as I don't have to feel that anxiety, because nobody likes to feel anxiety, because then you don't have the motivation to do what it is that you need to do. This is your action center. This is the chakra where your choices, the actions you take, guide and gear every other chakra and every event in your life towards where your intention is. And if your intention is to avoid, sidestep issues, not have those serious conversations with people, with family members, again, you'll get nausea, you'll get anxiety. Really interesting one that I've yet to have somebody disprove is you will get hiccups centrally located in solar plexus. Hiccups is a direct physical result of actually doing something. This is a little bit different angle to it. When you're doing something and taking action on something that you don't want to be doing, a misalignment between your sacral and your solar plexus, when you're doing something that is not aligned to you, you're going to be getting hiccups. Then another really phenomenal synchronicity and how it ties in is it goes into your third eye. And this connection, the third eye to the solar plexus, is one of the most in depth tie ins that I've found with my research. I've also learned personally that you can cure migraines and headaches through the same concept. I learned that headaches are caused when we're avoiding doing what we know we need to be doing. And I also learned the best way to cure a headache and a migraine is through throat chakra, to be really honest with yourself about what aligns what you know you need to be taking action on and taking those steps. I know that when you, again, I speak from personal experience, when you do take action on what you know you need to be doing, you may fizzle and get the misalignments of the lower chakras. You may be unhappy about it. You may have fear around it. And that's all part of facing your fears, to take the action to it. And by acting on and opening the inception of your solar plexus, it will stabilize and equal out and open up the lower chakras as well. And by taking those steps to do what you've been putting off, or do what you've been afraid to do or having anxiety about, you'll also cure your headaches. I'm looking forward to more research around this. I know that this is my personal body's reaction to it. If I have something that I need to be doing and I know I'm avoiding it, and the anxiety builds up and whatnot, or the headache, the tension starts coming on, being aware of it and being aware of how your body is responding to these situations really do help you guide yourself through the emotional states that you experience. And then by taking action and doing that work that needs to be done, my headache will go away very quickly and very easily. As I started to say, over the last 2 days, I was actually able to have a really good, long overdue, in depth conversation with both my father that took about 2 hours. That was really easy. It was easy. By taking action, it easily repaired the damage that had been done and then not spoken about. And it repaired the relationship back to its previous standard, a high standard at that. And while I was at it, because I had the energy flowing and open, the inception of the chakra was just blooming, as it shows in the the Indian depictions as well as the Tibetan. Our chakras are flowers that are blooming in different shapes. I decided to go see my mother, that had maybe 13 years of overdue conversation built up. And I was able to use the energies that I created through one conversation with one family member to go and repair 13 years of damage with another family member. And by this time of the day, this was the third relationship that I was able to fix. This is all by taking action. You'll hear Ashley reference this time and time and time again. You have to do the work. You have to figure out that 1% a day, that one thing, that 1% that you can physically do, be it pick up a phone, make a phone call, schedule in a conversation, send a text. And not only will you be able to heal the misalignments in your own body, you'll be able to ease the anxiety, you'll be able to ease the nausea, you'll be able to ease the hiccups and remove the headaches and migraines just by doing what you know you need to be doing. And it directly, because it's so tightly tied into the third eye, it also mingles very intensely with your throat chakra, which really does control the rest of everything, is what you tell yourself. When you're able to be honest with yourself, if you're able to admit, I'm being lazy about something, I don't want to do something because of XYZ, And if you admit to yourself, I don't want to take action on something, it'll go through the chakras. This is the core foundation of what I do in a chakra analysis is you take yourself step by step through each chakra. I'm lying to jump a few chakras up here for a second. I'm lying to myself about having a conversation with a family member because of go back down. What fears do I have? What insecurities do I have? And then that on its own goes through all the chakras. And often it goes down to a fear of loss, your heart chakra, grief. Don't go down 2 gears. I have a fear of guilt. I feel guilty, so I don't want to take action and talk to said person. I feel shame. Come into your solar plexus. Admit to yourself, I feel shame. Often we feel shame because of actions that we have done before that were misaligned, actions that we have taken out of misalignments with the other chakras, actions we've done out of fear. Who's ever done something stupid out of fear? Who's ever done something and then felt like shit for it afterwards? Who feels guilty that they've done something, they've hurt someone? And then depending on the outcome of what our actions are, we feel that shame. And then we feel the grief. And we get to our throat chakra, and then we choose responsibility and accountability, or are we going to make excuses? We're going to lie to ourselves. We're going to jump up into our third eye, and we're going to create illusions. We're going to bullshit. It's their fault. They made me do it. One of the most interesting experiences of this was when, as a family, we every night we do family movie night together, and often Finn doesn't want to give up the PlayStation, put on a movie. And he got so tense one time from his frustration of doing this, of needing to switch gears. We all like to play with balloons. It's like one of the kids' favorite things ever. You do not need to go to Toys R Us and spend $60 on toys. Go to the dollar store, get some balloons. Your kids are happy. Decades, at least a decade, from my experience. And his tension popped the balloon. And he looks at us and he goes, "Look what you made me did. You popped my balloon." And it's cute for a giggle until we realize that this is the legitimate mentality that we have as adults. You made me do it because you made me angry. The season four, 3 or 4, whichever newest season of Cobra Kai just came out a few days ago. Sat binge watched it, got through it in about 4 hours. Quick season, love the show. And it's set up to be a comedy, which is kind of sad because what we're laughing at is what's funny and what's in truth about the show is that they're showing these grown men doing this with this mentality. All these grown men who, and it constantly references the Karate Kid movies from actual date here. I'm gonna go with the 80s when it was out, or at least early 90s. And they have flashbacks to what happened to each other then. Where's my dates? 84. So we're in 2022, and the characters are looking back to 1984, and they're still reliving these moments of this person tormented me, this person bullied me, and they're still raging, and they're alcoholics, and they're just grown ass children. And what makes the show funny is because they do kind of poke at this lack of mentality. And then the other thing that we have to realize is that through the conditioning of what they're putting out there and what people are seeing, is that they identify with these characters because we do it too as adults. One example, guy gets pulled over for speeding. Well, the guy behind me was too close. And then we played the blame game. And the point to all this is what ends up happening. This is a default mode that we have from being children, that if it's not corrected and we don't understand how to rewire our programming and how to bring in the inception of the chakras to free that energy up, if we don't understand how each one correlates to especially our throat chakra, how we give ourselves lies and illusions based off which chakra emotions are triggered by the event, then we don't grow out of it. See a lot of people, grown adults, and their choices are that of what a 5-year-old would choose. There's so many adults, 25 to 45, YouTubers who sit and play video games all day. I don't know if this is a conspiracy or a lack of parenting, or I don't know what went wrong somewhere in society where we're having all these grown people who never evolved from the mental and emotional state of a 5-year-old. Solution is understanding yourself, understanding your chakras, understanding how each emotion will play off each other. When you understand the system, you understand how your body works, you can do the work. You can sit down and you can write it through. You can do what people have referred to as mental alchemy within your own body chemistry and your own spirituality. You can take the actions. I keep touching my solar plexus and my hand is off camera. You can take the actions to make these adjustments and make sure that our actions are aligned. And what do our actions do? What do they do? They do everything. Where do they come from? Our actions, again, they come from our throat chakra. Because the stories we tell ourselves creates the illusion. It creates the atmosphere of what happens within our electromagnetic field and how it interacts with all the other electromagnetic fields from other people and in the environment. And it will change your destiny and or fate. It changes the pathway that you're on just based off how you're telling yourself things. So when we're telling ourselves what we think is true, or we may know to be a misconception, our actions then reflect directly through what we're telling ourselves. So the best way to change your actions, the best way to help the inception of energy into your solar plexus is through the throat chakra. The best way to open all the chakras is through the throat chakra. Last week I talked about resolutions, and a common thing that I've seen throughout my 35 years of life is the New Year's resolution half-life. People who have resolutions are actually a rare minority. It's a very small percentage of people. And out of that small percentage of people, let's say about 8% is what my memory is telling me from my research, Out of that 8%, about 3% actually follow through. So it's a large disconnection rate of people who are able to do this. And a lot of this does come into play that they're not taught how to properly set a goal and pursue it. Now, this goes back to all the other segments that I've mentioned, and it gets into when you schedule it in. When you sit down, you journal it out, you set a plan, you schedule it in, you set due dates, and on the due dates, you take action based off what you've decided is that 1% main action that's going to make the biggest difference going forward. It's a quick process. I just described it in 20 seconds or less. A lot of people have never been taught this process. They've never known how to progress. And then that plays into the throat chakra. I don't know how. I don't know what I'm doing. The limiting beliefs. Limited beliefs. When you start to take action, the energies of everything that's in play. And yeah, it's a peculiar way that I see the world and the universe, but we're all just teeny tiny little cogs that just our spinning electromagnetic field spins the electromagnetic field beside us and it and such on and so forth. And we're all these the little cogs in this just giant machine. Crazy, insanely massive clock tower of cogs and moving gears. And our actions set us onto, in the olden days, they would have called it destiny, or your fate, your path. And what this pathway has been titled is the bridge of incidences. When we start to take action, or sorry, the bridge of incidents. When we take action, when we decide we've set a goal, starting Monday, we're going to take action. We have then set up a bridge. And along this bridge, spiritual belief comes into play. And our actions will come into resistances, our actions will come into obstacles, our actions will come into certain situations that are more bridges. And each scenario, each situation that you get yourself into is guiding you to your intentional outcome. And this bridge of incidents is not to be seen in a negative light. These are just simple steps, simple situations that have to take place in order for you to achieve your goal. Basic example, going back to what I started with in the beginning, if your goal, simply put, is for inner peace, and you don't want to feel the fears anymore, you don't want to feel the shame and the guilt and the anxiety and the nausea and the butterflies and the grief, and you're tired of the lies and the illusions, and you want to take accountability, you want to take responsibility and be accountable for what you've done in the past, you then are put into situations that let you fix the damage that has been done. It lets you remove the negative energies from the equation. It frees up your bridge of incidents to get you to where you're going. This is where the resistance comes in. These are the trials. These are the tests, the temptations. My personal experience, I've come to call this the law of doubles. Everything is twice as hard as what you are prepared to do. If you look back into the old alchemic ways, if you look back into witchcraft and magic, everything has a price. It gets into how even in the Bible there were sacrifices, be it a goat, payment of penance, a gesture. Something has to be given in order to receive. You have to remove room from your cup to have room for something else. And with my experience, it's always twice as much work, twice as much resistance, it's twice as hard as what you are willing to do. And it wouldn't be a test if it wasn't. This shows your actions, it shows your intentions behind your actions, and if they're true. Now, Ashley always puts it out there, when you think you have everything you want, within 24 hours you're going to be tested. And it's a question. It's an earnest, where are you coming from? You have an intention, what's your intention behind your intention? Your intention can be to get $5,000. Your hidden intention may be so I can gamble it away. Your hidden intention may be so I can give it to a homeless person. There's always an intention behind an intention. There are layers to everything. And so when we come across our bridge of incidents and we come to that point where we have to pay penance, a tribute of energy, and it depends on how you want to look at it. You can give an offering, you can give a sacrifice. The terminology really does determine if it's going to play into this as positive or negative. This also comes from your core foundation of the emotions that you're experiencing. If you're in a high vibration and you're telling yourself, I'm coming at this from a place of unconditional love and gratitude and value, because achieving my goal is going to give me value. Then, when you're asked, is there something I can do to repair the relationship? And they say, hey, I really need something that costs $500. Can you help me? Maybe in the bank you're only sitting at around a $200 budget. You're now at that double. And you have to tell yourself, is this a sacrifice I'm willing to make? And sacrifice automatically, the throat chakra, the wording automatically changes the vibration and the energy and the intention. Because sacrifice, oh, I gotta do something, I gotta hurt myself to help this person, and then you're getting into the resentment, and the chakras are starting to bottleneck and close off. When you come at it from a place of unconditional love and gratitude, and you value in this situation that I'm giving you as a hypothetical, you value the relationship. You value the person. You value the quality time. You really want to repair it because it means something to you. It gives you value. They give you value. And they say, look, I really need this item for $500 because it'll fix all my problems. And if you come at it from a point of an offering, this is something I can do. This is how I can express how much value they have. by that expression of value, you are giving value to the relationship, and you are then fueling and feeding the perpetual motion of energy. A beautiful metaphor to how our actions have physical consequences is if you think of a fire. You have to always be putting something into it to get something back out of it, being the light and the warmth. Nothing is ever destroyed or created. The energies really just do move around into different shapes and sizes. Earlier, we had a whoopsie in the kitchen, and one of the mugs fell and broke. And Anastasia was asking, was that my favorite mug? And I said, yes, it was. It was my favorite mug. It was a gift to me from Ashley, and it broke a lot. And she kind of asked me, well, are you sad about it? I said, no, because it's still my favorite mug. It's gone now. It's dead. But I still have all the memories of what that mug means to me and all the memories of using it for literally everything. And she goes, but Daddy, the mug's not gone. It's right there. Because I picked up the pieces and I'm going to glue it back together. Whether I can ever use it again as a mug or not, regardless, I still like it and keep it. And so this opened the door to explaining to Anastasia about that. Nothing ever really is gone. Nothing ever gets destroyed. It just changes. The mug's not gone. It's right there in a pile of pieces. And it still has value. And when something has value, your actions towards it are so much more meaningful. Your time, attention, and energy, even playing off, my story here, the time and attention that I'll give it just to glue it back together, it still adds even more value to that one piece because that one piece of a mug is reflecting upon the value that I have in the relationship. Again, it was a gift from Ashley, and it was my favorite mug. And so you can see how, with something that's physical and tangible and very small and minute as a cup, a mug, can hold that kind of value. It can hold memories and it holds that energy and it gives fuel to the meaning behind a relationship. Go forward thinking about how your actions can further do this with other people. This theory, this concept, further enhances and creates the positive outcomes to the situations. It builds your bridge of incidences. And it's very important to be very mindful of how your throat chakra is expressing things to your third eye, because that allows you to release, or it creates that physical attachment that you don't want to let go of. When we have a physical attachment hindering the crown chakra, and we don't want to let go of something due to fear of loss, fear being the root, loss being the heart chakra, we then create guilt and shame around it. And because we now have hindrances in all our chakras, we then create disillusions and lies to justify it. Thus, the truth shall set you free. 1000% one of the best chakra related statements mankind has ever heard. take a moment to think about how our actions alter and change the situations, especially when it's coming from a positive vibration of unconditional love and unconditional gratitude. Now, to further tie the three together, the throat chakra, the third eye, and our actions, our motivations, our solar plexus, is I actually came across this by accident. I was really tired the other day and I was making my notes and I was connecting or correlating how everything's connected together. And I was doing limiting beliefs and I was trying to write down unconditional love versus limited beliefs. But because I was really tired and I clicked out while I was writing something, I wrote something quite meaningful that I didn't know existed. And I wrote down unconditional belief. My body just wrote it automatically without any thought process to it, and I kind of came to. And I saw that, and I went to erase it, and I'm thinking, that looks like it's a real thing. So I looked it up, and I'm so happy to be able to share this odd little synchronicity with all of you, because this is what we need to operate out of. An unconditional belief is very much a real thing, and not something that I wrote by accident or by chance. It was something that my body just gave to me. The energies gave to me, God gave to me, whatever terminology you should wish to use. An unconditional belief is what we all need to be operating out of through what our actions are going to bring us to achieve our goals. An unconditional belief is when the example that was given to me when I looked it up are the parents who are told, Ashley being one of them, who are told, you are infertile, you cannot have children. So they create this. You can create one of two things, positive or negative. You can create a limited belief, which is a fixed mindset, which believes the bullshit, which is usually what happens when the doctors tell you you have 3 months to live. Or you can have an unconditional belief, which says all that negativity is bullshit. When I looked up what unconditional belief meant, the story that was told was that of a mother who was told you can't have children. So she developed this unconditional belief that fuck you. Yes, I can. I'm gonna adopt, I'm gonna have a child one day, no matter what the outcome, no matter what the bridge of incidents shows, no matter what scenarios play out, come hell or high water, I'm having a kid. And this person had a kid in the story. And this is how Ashley had Finn. Part of it. The other part was getting healthy, healing, getting off pharmaceuticals, getting our body healed through proper vibrations and proper food. And our food itself has its own vibration. The healthier the food, the higher vibration, the better our mood. And the more hyper and faster we speak. The more our electromagnetic field swirls in a positive manner going up and out through our chakra, our crown chakra, versus a negative vibration which reverses and it pushes the vibrations down and out through our root chakra, which, as we know, puts us in a state of fear and depression. Unconditional belief. People who are told you have 3 months to live. Say, fuck you, doctor. You don't know what you're talking about. So they quit their job. They quit doing all the negative things that in your solar plexus, as I was saying, we're doing things that are misaligned to our other chakras, energies, and emotions, and causing these energy hindrances and bottlenecking it and causing all sorts of physical ailments, including hiccups and headaches. And they start doing what aligns, what makes them feel safe, secure, what makes them feel happy, joyous, what gives them the motivation to get up every fucking day at 4:30 in the morning, come hell or high water, because they're going to accomplish the goal that they love to do, that they're telling themselves with all the positivity, this is right for me. They create this beautiful vision of this world where they are living their dream. Keyword to this scenario, they are living, and all the energy is released up and out through the crown chakra because they don't care what attachments they have to the events and outcomes and situations to get there. And these people who are deemed terminally ill, you have 3 months to live, go on for another 20 years. They make a miraculous discovery, and science goes, wow. My favorite story that I have heard personally is a young girl, 12 or 13, was deemed terminally ill, and she went on a pilgrimage to this sacred mountain that had these hot water springs. And these hot water springs were renowned for healing, like a Reiki energy level of healing. People would go with illnesses and ailments and joint pain, chronic whatevers, and it just had a really high success rate. And she had this unconditional belief that if I make it to this spring and I bathe in this water, I will be cured. She was somebody else who had a full miraculous discovery, apologies, recovery. And the doctors are going, how? That doesn't medically make sense. And frankly, if you're here on Odyssey watching a holistic healing channel against everything going on in the world, we also know that science, from what we're told, doesn't know what it's doing anymore. Other miracle story that I think is beautiful is there was a man who went blind. Uh, Over time, he was just told you're losing your eyesight, you don't have a choice, prepare for the worst, you know, not so much get your affairs in order because he wasn't dying. He went blind, completely blind, for over 10 years. But he had this unconditional belief that one day, somehow, science or anything, the bridge of incidents does not matter. The events, trials and tribulations and penance and sacrifices and offerings that we make do not matter. If we have a limit, unconditional belief that we are going to achieve our goals, the science proves that you're going to achieve your goals. And this man, after 13 years of being blind, was in his kitchen one day. He was doing his dishes, and he got just so it felt like being struck by lightning. This sudden striking pain in his head. He broke his mug. Great story to use. And he could see perfectly fine in a blink of an eye, struck by Zeus's lightning bolt, and he could just see. And these things happen. These things happen all the time. This is a chakra system. This is an energetic system. You can call it any wide variety of semantical names. It's spoken in the Bible. There's a part where Jesus was doing his preaching, and a woman came up through the crowd and just touched his cloak. Didn't even get to make contact with him, just touched the loose clothing, just pulled on his robe. He silenced everybody. Said, "Who just touched my robe?" The woman said, "I did." He asked, "Why?" And she said, "Because I'm sick. I'm really sick. And I know, as an unconditional belief, that just by getting near you or touching you, that I'm going to heal." Now, in the Bible, it's worded a little bit different. Jesus says, "Let it be so," and she was healed. Dead Sea Scrolls that made the Bible have been around for over 2,000 years. This concept, the whole Reiki system of healing, is said to be the same energetic healing system that Jesus used to heal. And it truly, after it's been studied over centuries of successful, wealthy people, this mental alchemy of being able to give yourself positive affirmations and creating these unconditional beliefs are what make the biggest difference. So when we're able to construct through affirmation, through positive self talk, through visualization of what our goals are, an unconditional belief, our actions in our solar plexus geared towards our goal make that goal come true. When you study metaphysics and you get into the actual science behind all of it, it really does state that you have to be taking action. You have to be giving that fuel to the fire to create the perpetual motion of moving your way across the bridge of incidences. You have to be crossing the bridge. You have to be facing these situations. You have to be facing your fears. You have to be healing your guilt, healing your shame. You have to be having those conversations with people from a position of unconditional love and gratitude. You have to be letting go of the negativity. And you really do have to let go of the attached outcome that things need to happen a certain way or in a certain order. And the biggest element that life has shown me over the last year or so is that you get everything you want, and I shit you not, it comes at you out of order, very much out of order. So much out of order that it's confusing. Like, I wanted this, and I thought I had to do A, B, C, D, E to get to F and G, and you get A, B, F, G, and you still really do need to acquire the other letters, and you get thrown for a bit of a loop there because your bridge of incidence isn't what you expected it to be. The thing is, it happens. You get results. When you free your energy, when you come from a place of motivation and unconditional love to achieve your goal, your actions get you there. And then you open your heart chakra, which I'll touch a little bit on today. Love. Like I was saying last week, each chakra that overlaps each other, they're interchangeable. When you compare the heart chakra and the solar plexus, our love and our motivation, when we're motivated to do something, it's because we love it. And if you switch it, I mean, literally, the bottleneck for The sacral chakra is the opposite of happiness. When we come at something from a place of dislike or content, discontent, we don't love it. When we are taking action towards things that we don't love, it's again that disconnect that throws off all the other chakras. It throws off our bridge of incidence, and then our intention behind the intention comes from a place of negativity. And often it comes from a place of I'm doing this because I just want it to be done, or I'm doing it because I don't want to do it. I just want it out and over and out of the way. And then we're making progress and taking actions towards something that we're half-assing because we don't love it and it doesn't align. And then you get into the throat chakra. Again, are you going to be honest with yourself and admit this? Or are you going to come up with excuses and you're going to try to justify it on some strange little level? Because then you're giving yourself illusions and you're creating attachments. You're getting into a fixed mindset, which is to iterate that or reiterate that. Fixed mindset are the people who have the limited beliefs. I can never do whatever. The doctor says I'm dying, and therefore I'm dying. That's a fixed belief. Somebody else said it. It was said on the media. The media said it, so it must be true. The fixed mindset comes from I will always be overweight because it's genetics. You can't teach an old dog new tricks. So, as I said, the solution to getting out of a fixed mindset, to getting through your limited beliefs, be honest with yourself. Figure out what you love next week. Schedule in your action steps, that solar plexus 1% a day of motivation to get you where you want to be. Create affirmations. Create the best affirmations, the unconditional belief. I'm going to talk about this more when we get into the throat chakra in 2 weeks. And you're going to achieve your dreams. Knowing the chakras are so much more in depth than just being able to heal and route, Reiki energies into different areas. It truly is mental alchemy. That's why I love it so much. That's why I'm here to share it with you, because I know it's going to give someone somewhere value watching this to at least, at a minimum, get rid of your hiccups. If you like what you've seen today, if it resonates with you, please share it with a friend, refer somebody over, send them to our website or Instagram. We're not really on Instagram too much anymore. They're being twats because they believe what the media says. Must be true. Share what you know, share what you've learned, and that will help other people understand what it is that we do and how we can help them bridge the gap of the their bridge of incidence to achieve their goals and be living the life that they need to be living, that you all deserve to be living. My chair needs oil. I will see you all next week.